looks like I'm picking up vocals on my side as well.
Nice. That's a good start.
3 hours later.
It's a really good start for the first episode. I kind of want to be able to hear you.
Well, it just took a little while. So.
Yeah, a long time. I'm running on fumes.
Well, 3 hours later.
It's fine.
And we're into our first episode.
We're here.
It was a really good experience on a Sunday to leave church, spend some time with some family, get some time with Ezra, and then get home and work on this for 5 hours.
Do something that's like just absolutely tests you.
A microphone works.
But a real question: how many times did you just like, "Yo, big guy, help me"?
I got real quiet a lot, and the quietness was me experiencing God in a different way.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any like new words coming from up here, so
yeah, I can say that's changed in the last month. I'm like, I'm gonna really clean this up when I build things. I built these chairs and put these together.
These stinking microphones.
Yeah, these stinking microphones. I've learned new verbiage from Fernando Mendoza and Kirk Cousins and everybody else. So.
It was the Colts quarterback. The guy who came back?
Phillip Rivers, the one we're actually talking about. Yeah. No, but yeah, we're in our first episode. We've hit the pinnacle.
We did.
I said that, man, I've done podcasting before. It's going to be so easy to get this thing up and running, and we've spent 4 hours getting here, and we're here.
And like 10 days on the website.
And
so
10 days on the website. That's just me trying to make sure everything is very meticulous.
Mm-hmm.
Very meticulous.
Yeah, that's your strength there.
But welcome to the first episode.
Yeah, welcome.
I think before we get started into anything, going into kind of a personal introduction of us for people who either don't know us personally or professionally, kind of a quick background as to who we are, why we're doing this. But mainly, let's start with just who we are. So if you want to take it away and start with who you are, I think starting there would be good.
Yeah, it's great.
Words are hard.
So my name is Andra. So
right.
It's the best start.
This is good.
I think if we keep it in the realm of what the podcast is purpose and performance. I grew up in the fitness industry, and from the age of like 3, I remember bouncing on exercise balls at my aunt's gym on the huge group fitness floor, and I basically was brought up in that daycare as my mom worked in the gyms and stuff like that. So it's kind of just what I've always known, and it's where my passion grew from there. And it's never left, really. So, I think I've always had this belief that sports and athletic competition are just like who I am and what I've always wanted to like make my life surrounded with. And, that's basically like the core of my identity, really. So, but I think that has kind of brought me into a place where I don't like, and I've always felt a little bit more empty from thinking that is going to be my identity. And I think now I kind of want to switch that into being able to like steward through Christ and using that and really infiltrating that whole like arena of people that I think that maybe they could use it. So, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So, I do think that, sports and athletic competition started with just who I am, and I think that's where like the Lord honestly called me back to Him too. So, and I think He's uses that to speak to me. So,
yeah, I think that's a really good round out of your past, as obviously I know it.
Yeah.
And it's like the 30-second version of it.
Yeah.
But obviously, we're going to get more into that with later episodes and things like that. But yeah, it's a good round out.
Yeah.
Anything else to add for that?
No.
Okay. I think for me, it's very different, but not different. Grew up in the athletic space, just like you did, but not in the fitness industry as much. Like, didn't have that exposure to like, I'm going to go in and get on a treadmill and I'm going to run and work out. I'm going to do this. And it's not to say that my family didn't do that or we didn't go to the local gym here. but it wasn't the exposure that you had of like your aunt owns an entire
Right.
gym chain, and your cousin now as well. But I felt like I saw it as more of a necessary evil for athletics, to where I was like, I'll get there,
Yeah.
and I'll just train during seasons and do this, which really obviously doesn't work for anyone.
Yeah.
But through sport and everything like that, I think that growing up in the church, both my parents coming from the church background, previously teaching Sunday school, being at the church 3, 4, some weeks 5 days a week, being involved with youth group and continuing all those things, and then getting to college and dropping God out of my life. And not in this way where I was like, I renounced him or anything crazy, just he wasn't the focus anymore.
Yeah.
But I would go to these athletic events where previously in my heart, God was the focus at all of these athletic events that I used to compete in. I'd go to a football game and watch a football game, and I'd feel something tugging at me. Like, okay, this is more than that. Like, this is where you came from. This is what your background was.
Yeah.
And I just let that fester and let that fester multiple times, and until we're here today. Obviously, made plenty of mistakes in the road to getting here.
Yeah.
And I think that through you and you coming back, that's really welcomed me back into talking about this and feeling this way, because I've had kind of a quiet relationship with God, I think, for the last 2, even 3 years, where I think about it a lot. I'm praying a lot. I'm doing things, but in secret, where I'm like, oh, I'm out hunting. I'm going to pray. I'm going to do that.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell anybody I did it. And I'm not going to say that I watched X video online of this guy preaching about this.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, well, maybe that's how it goes. And we'll just keep it quiet. And so I feel like with you coming back out and saying, you know, I want to get involved in church. I want Ezra to be involved in church. I want this. It's felt like a very welcome home back into, you know, God's embrace and his grace that he's had. So
yeah, and I think like what I was trying to say earlier is that like I felt so called to come back to it, but I grew up in this space of fitness that it really doesn't exist outwardly there. It's kind of like what you said, it's like really quiet. Like if people are praying or they're talking about their faith, it's all internal. And I don't see it as like a very open conversation where the two worlds collide. And so I think it's needed there. And
is that crazy? That's like someone should start a podcast about that. That's crazy. Wow. What a segue. Was that an intentional segue, or was that just like...
No, it wasn't, but like maybe I'm just like really good at this whole podcasting thing.
Yeah, because that literally was what the next topic was going to be, is what is the podcast?
Yeah.
And you were just right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Take it away. You're rolling. Let's hear it.
Dang, that was great.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, whew.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, like I said, I think I had a lot of identity that like lived and died within competition. And it's like, if I performed poorly, well, then I'm just worthless, right? And if I performed well, well, then like I deserve all of the credit and all of the glory, and it's just great. And I'm like better than other people in whatever it is. And I got a really cool medal. And, I think that was like the folly that people fall into in the space of fitness, where if it's vanity, like and I think you see this a lot in bodybuilding, or if it's competition, which could be anything, like, you know, CrossFit, powerlifting, whatever it is, running, and those are like accolades, like medals, things like that. And I think that is like living for yourself and really placing a lot of like your self-identity within something that really, in all honesty, doesn't mean anything. I mean, it can be taken away in an instant. So it's like you can get hurt and then all that goes away. And I think that I've had a lot of pride in like the grind of living there. And at the end of the day, like I really didn't have anything left for like anybody else and helping anybody else, right? And even if I did try and like put something together, like I'm going to help people with their nutrition, or I'm going to coach people through lifting. It was almost like, look how smart I can be, and like look how like much I can change their life. And that's still not the point, right? Because at the end of the day, I end up at the same place that I was before, with just nothing left spiritually. I think there's still always something like missing, right? Always. And so I think that there's a difference between living that way for yourself, and living for Christ. And I think that if you do the latter and live for Christ and work through fitness for Him, that is going to bring, far more joy to your life and meaning, than just doing it for yourself. And I think you can go further. And I don't think that that's something in the fitness space that's like talked about enough. So appreciating what you can do as a means of like serving God rather than yourself. So,
Yeah.
And that's where I think that you connect really at this point. So,
Yeah. I like, not to like call out our notes that we've got in front of us here, but I do like the way that you wrote. The podcast purpose is explore to what it truly means to live and compete with intention, rooted in the Word. The Bible wants to point us to God as enough, and through Him, He gives us the rest of the world.
mm-hmm.
I think that that's a very eloquent way to write what you were conveying there, of like, yeah, it might be fitness, it might be a race, it might be this thing, but this space is so unbothered with God, and the people that do worship Him in the fitness space or while they're racing or whatever it might be, like you with your training, where you can see that as a type of worship. If they do it, they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
There's faith in sports. There's faith in athletics. I mean, you see these guys kneel down after football games and baseball games and pray together and things like that. But no one's talking about it.
Yeah, and that's like definitely not to say that it doesn't exist, because it does. And I don't want to like say like this like is a flawed area of the world where like the fitness needs help. Like it doesn't. But I think that being open about it is definitely not something that's there. I mean, we just talked about this in the car the other day. Like when people used to make fun of Tim Tebow for kneeling, it's like you made fun of him for kneeling why? That was like such like a weird thing for me to see, that like people are making fun of him for his faith.
Right.
And then when he didn't back down, I mean, people backed it down, which was awesome. But, yeah, like why? And that's just such a great example of like how if you're outward in your faith in this world of fitness, it's like almost like you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You're 100% right. That's very interesting. Well, before we kind of get into that's a little bit of the motivation of starting the podcast. Before we get into it, a few disclaimers that go along with what you just said. You're really good at the segue thing. Really good at the segue thing. One, saying like, we're not saying that this space doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Or that people don't talk about it. There's some great podcasts that do talk about it, but it's not I'm not saying they're not, but they aren't exploring it as deeply. People will bring it up, but they're not talking about their faith a lot. And if there is, it's like an episode. It's not a consistent theme within a basis of a podcast.
Right.
So that's where we felt like maybe the need came from. It's not to get into the motivation. But into the disclaimer, one, this isn't going to be perfect by any means.
Definitely not.
I mean, the computer already dinged in the background while we've been sitting here because we didn't mute it. Whatever. It's not going to be perfect, but it is going to be improved upon every episode.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to have things that work a little bit better, hopefully technology, when we're setting up each episode.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's fair to say that we have all the answers either. We're going to have guests on as we move forward. We have a list of guests that we're going to have on already, who are going to have some answers, but no one's going to have all the answers. No one's perfect. No one is God. And so, with that being said, you might hear things you might not agree with, like you or I, or if you're a listener out there and you're hearing, oh, well, I don't agree with that at all. It doesn't mean that there can't be topics of discussion. And I think that that's, again, such an important space for this.
I mean, even so, to expand on that a little bit, it's like we aren't perfect, and we are constantly wanting to continue to be students And I think that it's important for listeners to also want to be students too. And if they disagree with something, what can we learn from it or take away? There's,
Right.
keep it in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
So we promise to be students in the same way. So
100%. Yeah. And in vein with the student statement as well, keep an open mind.
yeah,
Like, if you hear something, be curious, not judgmental.
Right.
I love the Ted Lasso thing with that, and we've heard it at church now recently too. I think it's an important thing to note. Two, well, probably more like five, not two, but perfection doesn't come from past history or mistakes or whatever it might be. So if you're
sure.
someone listening to this who heard us act or saw us act a certain way or heard us talk a certain way even 6 months ago, realize that we've changed. I think that
For sure.
that's an important thing. Like, we're not perfect still, but we're striving to exemplify what God is doing and how he's working in our life.
Yeah.
So if a year ago we were out at a bar somewhere with somebody, we're not the same people. So keep an open
Yeah,
mind when you hear that
definitely
too.
not.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a statement to the power of what walking with Christ can do.
Yeah.
Truly. And I hope that, I don't want to get into that now because I know we have our own testimonies to give later, but that's coming. And I hope that they stick around to hear that because
Be wild not to stick around if you just listened to one episode and ran away, because it's the very next episode.
I know. The next two.
It's the next two, yeah. And then the last, I think it's important to note that, we both have professional careers as well. The views of the podcast and our views don't necessarily mimic or imitate. We're not speaking for our company. We're not speaking for our coworkers.
No.
And they all have their own views. And so with the disclaimers out of the way, I'd like to hear your thoughts on your motivation for wanting to start this podcast. We've talked about it. We've talked with good friends about it. But what was your personal motivation to getting to this point? Oh, big breath.
I think that at the root of it all, I felt called to do more. I have what I believe to be are gifts that I have used in the wrong way for my whole life. And I think that you can use the gifts that you've been given for selfish, evil reasons, or however you want to describe them, or you can use them to do good and bring other people closer to God, spread the word, etc. And I felt called to do good when we discussed even like a podcast, like when you were talking to one of your friends about this, the idea came about, I was like, that's interesting. And I just kind of sat on it. And then the more that we talked about it, the more I was like, no, I can't get this off my mind. Like, I feel like this is such a great way for us to discuss where this has brought us. And we're just like everyday people, it's not like we have this giant following on social media and people are gonna be like, who are these two? And I'm well aware of that. But it wouldn't leave my mind. And I was like, I feel like this is God talking to me, saying you should tell your story. Because your story would be shared with so many people on the same level. And I know that we'll dive deeper into my story, but I have backgrounds with success in athletics, but also just drowning with addiction and growing up with trauma and things like that. And I think that that's resonating with people to know that you can still turn things around and Christ still loves you. And in the same breath, I think that I learned so much about myself through fitness. I think God speaks to me through fitness when I'm droning away on the treadmill and have nothing else to talk to. I think that that's when I have the deepest connections there. And I really, at the base of it all, my motivation is really just to share with other people, and bring people closer to God. And I am such a newbie at this whole walk with faith, and I'm totally not perfect, and I don't know everything. I've read 2 books of the Bible front to back, and probably 3 times each, but just 2, and I know them real well. But
the beauty is you don't have to be though.
I know, but I don't know everything, but I do know how I feel, and I do know like what I've learned, and I can share like my own experiences. And yeah, I think that when we look at like I said, like the fitness industry, I just like wish more people would be open about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned so much from like being in the fitness industry is that it's so paralleled to the things that God asks of us. Where like, you know, you see Paul talk about like run with your faith. And I think that if you continue, like that's like when you run in real life, it's so paralleled to what he's asking you to do is to run. And then you also think about like suffering, and like suffering is like so not easy when you're in the thick of, you know, PRing a squat, or you're 10 miles into a run, and it's like, yeah, that's suffering, but like go a little bit further, you can do a little bit more. And that's what God asks of you, is to go a little further, do a little more, spread my word a little bit more. So yeah, I think there's such a parallel there, that I think we can explore so many topics that can come from that we can like dive into. Things that come to my mind are like discipline, consistency. Those things are so important in your walk of faith too, and just every day within life, relating it to even more than that, family, marriage, all of those things. And I think without the Lord giving me my talent in fitness, I would have never learned those key things ever. I would have never been able to come up disciplined, which I think that you'll realize when you hear my backstory. But same with consistency and all that. I just learned all that through fitness, and I think that's, again, God speaking through me through fitness. So, yeah, that's really where I felt called to start talking into this microphone, and nobody knows who I am. So,
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun too.
Sorry, that was long-winded, but
No, I think it's good, and I think it's a good explanation. And like you said, there's so many things that are going to come out of that because our motivations. I think that's something that's unique about this too, is we have different motivations for starting it.
yeah,
And I think that we have different opinions. Well, I know we have different opinions on certain things. I don't think I should have to ride 56 miles on a bike on a Sunday morning before church.
it's great.
Like,
I have
yeah,
a lot of fun.
Yeah. So like, I think it's going to be really unique, and that kind of gets into my motivation or why I want to do it. Is part of this is so foreign to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
between yourself and some close friends, like seeing this space of like ultras, Ironmans, marathon training, like all these things, like it's unique. And I think it's even more unique for me to see what makes you guys tick. What is it?
yeah,
Like you explained a little bit ago, like, well, it's the trauma, it's this thing, and like, right, maybe that's what got you into it, but you're here because of God, and you're doing this. Like, what shifted? And I want to hear those testimonies. I want to hear those stories. So it's like a really big motivator for me because I really enjoy hearing people's testimonies. I think it's awesome. But again, I mentioned this at the beginning. I've also competed, and I've competed with faith in mind, but I've not competed with faith in mind as an adult athlete, whatever that might be, right? We have, that could be a kind of a fun question for next episode, but we have a bunch of races each coming up this year, you more than me, and I think that when I'm doing those, I think, okay, I'm going to go do this, it'll be fun, like whatever, but like, am I really competing? Like, am I really doing it? And so hearing you guys talk, I think is going to be very interesting for me. So that's a big motivator.
yeah,
I also think that watching, and again, we can get into this at a later date with more of my story, but like watching people around me who have suffered with mobility issues or are unable to do whatever they wanted to do for movement is incredibly encouraging for me to want to learn these things and learn how I can put God into
right,
that to make God the focus.
yeah,
Because right now it's a job. I feel like, all right, gotta go get a run in.
yeah,
It does not clear my head. Swimming does.
Yeah.
Like but again, I used to swim, and that feels like more like home for me. I get relaxed when I'm in the water. Even if I'm doing sprints, I feel relaxed in the water. You too, yeah.
yeah, definitely. It's really relaxing.
So yeah, I feel like it's, and not to say it's not fair, because God's will is God's will, that they can't do those things, but I feel like I have the gift of movement, so I need to use the gift of movement. I think another great motivator, and I'll shout him out for Slayman for pushing
Yeah.
us, forward. We had the idea, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, that'd be kind of a cool podcast. But having the accountability to talk to somebody and bounce this idea off him, and he's like, well, this is an underserved space. It's one thing for you and I to talk about it.
Yeah.
Then you bounce an idea off somebody else, and they're like, no, it 100% is an underserved space. I think it's a good idea. I thought that was motivating. And
Like,
I think,
side note, look at like when you look at like people on Instagram who like were these hardcore bodybuilder, powerlifter people, and then they come out and they're like, I found Christ, and everyone's like, whoa, like
Right.
it's so underserved because people are like, they're saying something. Wow.
yeah, and they're just saying, they're not even talking about it on a podcast. Well, some of them are.
Yeah.
But some of them are just saying they found Christ, and it's like, I can't believe it, earth shattering.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment is, but like, there's so much more to that moment that we'd love to hear about.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I think that's
It's like the physical meets the spiritual, and it's like, that's not supposed to happen. But anyway, I digress.
And I think my other thing too is truly I felt a calling to share, not necessarily my testimony, but I think, which we'll do anyway, but I think a calling to share other people's testimony or encourage them to share their testimony. Nothing is more powerful than hearing how someone was led to Christ, because it's all happened for everybody in such a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's such power in that as a existing Christian to hear that.
Yeah.
It strengthens your faith. But I think that it's also great for people who maybe have not taken that leap and felt comfortable, but they felt like they're missing something. They feel hollow.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it might be, like, I think that hearing from just a variety of people of their walks of life is very motivating too, as well.
Right. Something interesting too that like I think we didn't bring up, that it brings perspective to the whole podcast, is that I have far less experience in the walk with faith than you do, and that's just what it is. And I think we'll get more into the details of like the comparison of you versus I, or whatever it is. But whereas I think it's the opposite, where I grew up lifelong in this space of fitness, and it's
Right.
but I'm so very new to Christianity.
And flipped for me.
Right.
Like, Christianity's always been there. I've had to focus on it, but this, like, fitness is, again, not to go on a tangent, but fitness is so unique. It's a lifelong sport. People talk about golf, and like golf is a form of that.
Yeah.
But like, if you're just golfing, like, there's so many other things you could be doing to be helping yourself, right? And so it's like, you grew up in this lifelong sport, and then are looking for the spirituality piece. I grew up with the spirituality, and I'm looking for the fitness piece to increase my life. and the link
Both
to it.
are lifelong disciplines. One will bring you pure joy and fulfillment. The other will be futile, basically. Like, you can try and find your identity and try and find fulfillment. And a lot of athletes do this. And you can try and find it there, but it's not there because that's not God. And
Right.
so, but they still are both lifelong disciplines.
Yeah.
And I think we need both in our life, but yeah.
I agree.
So, but I think it'll be interesting having both perspectives of which one we have more have spent more time in throughout our life.
Well, yeah, and I think that kind of leads into that discussion of how can you call and I'm not saying this in a Mark Driscoll way, but how can you call yourself, ingrained with God, yet you disregard food, alcohol, things that are going to completely put a toll or tax on your body. And it's not, again, I'm not trying to shame anybody, but like, that was me. Like, I'll just eat whatever. Well,
Same.
it doesn't, yeah, right. Like, I'll just eat whatever. It doesn't matter. And it's like, it does though.
It
Like,
does.
this is a form of honoring God. He gave you this body, so you want to honor it for Him.
Yeah, the Bible says that our body is home for the Holy Spirit. So how can we do that, yet we disregard
Yeah.
the importance of taking care of the vessel?
I don't know about you. I was just trying to make a big home. I was just trying to make sure the Holy Spirit was really comfortable. It's getting a little bit less comfortable. These jeans are getting looser, but whatever.
Make it a home, not a house.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Nice and cozy.
The Holy Spirit's kind of got an apartment now. No, that's good. Yeah, but I mean, like we said, it's one of those things of like how, and again, not just trying to go right off our notes, but like modern Christians, we have this basis of God made our bodies, but then we've come to care so little about them.
Yeah.
And I think that is, it's just so overlooked, even like I said, for myself. And this is almost going back to the disclaimer of,
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I'm still not perfect, and I'm not going to ever be perfect. But I'd like to strive to make sure that the body that I'm residing in can honor God.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, because your body is meant for stewardship, not ownership, right?
Right.
So like there are some that will idolize competition, fitness, but they lack spiritual strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that I think that brings people remaining ridden with anxieties, depressions, unfulfillment.
Yeah.
And then on the contrary, if you nurture physical health, I think it can help you better serve others, engage in your community, and really fulfill the purpose of life that God called you to. So they both are one and the same, and they're both important.
Right. And then strengthening in the depression and anxiety space, like following God and strengthening your mental through God is incredibly important. It increases resiliency. Whenever I have faced physical adversity, the first thing I do is think of God. Like, and I've been blessed that that's what He's done for me and made that. I know not everybody does that, but if I'm like, man, that's going really bad, I got to talk to God.
Yeah.
And we shared that at Bible study where like when things are perfect, I'm like, things are good.
Right.
But like when things are bad, he's the first person I turn to. It's like, hey, it's me again. What's up?
Hey.
Right.
Some help.
But I think the integration of taking that mental side of spirituality and the physical side of fitness, athletics, whatever it may be, and integrating the two of them into a scientific discussion where sometimes it might be talking about the actual science of increasing this data capture in order to help in you're more versed in the actual
help
terms.
the stuff.
Help the stuff. Help the Garmin make me say I'm doing good.
Make
and
it stop yelling.
Yeah. And then we have people who are going to be very well versed in that, people who are incredibly intelligent in those spaces, and yourself included, who can point to these data points, but the data points mean nothing, again, without God.
Right.
And so it's how are you utilizing God to increase these things? And then here's some actual scientific data that can help increase those data points.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of fun that this space is so open to be able to do that. And not to like preview guests or anything else like that, but like even sports psychology and athletic psychology in how you integrate God pre-race, post-race, during the race, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Science is super cool to further that discipline, but science was given to us by God. So
right.
It's like, let's use it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I'll fire one at you. Who's our target audience?
Everyone, but specifically.
That's such a podcast statement. That's like being in Sunday school and being like, Jesus. It is the right answer.
I mean, that is the answer, always correct.
Right. Everybody.
Yeah.
But go on.
I think that anyone who's seeking to deepen their faith and apply God's will in all various contexts. I mean, I know we're talking about athletics right now and exercise and fitness, but it's going to cross over into things like family values, marriage, parenting, which is a doozy always. And that's a definite disclaimer. Like, we have no idea what we're doing, and I don't think any parent does. But you know, it has a really good outline for how to parent.
The Bible.
The Bible. It's crazy.
What does it have in there about slamming down fake plastic toilets at your?
He was
at
really
your
into
mom
that
and pa's
toilet today.
house. Yeah, yeah. I think that's in there. I saw something about it. And yeah, no.
That's great.
Um,
But yeah, so people seeking to deepen their faith, and I think applying things you learn here to so many other disciplines, and then I also athletes who maybe are just like a little lost, and they're just like, I want more faith, but I maybe feel silly, or I feel like I'm going to be judged, or I'm really lost, and I really thought that all of this was going to bring me everything I wanted. If I win this race, like, this is going to be it. I'm going to feel great afterwards. And it's just like, well, now what?
yeah,
You know, people
Still
seeking
empty.
to figure out, why is it always more?
completely agree.
When's enough? So, yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, I think that merges into, kind of what to expect as far as kind of key topics that are going to be covered. And again, I think shameless plug here, but the website, www.purpose-and-performance.com. There's a contact us portion on there.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's whether you just want to reach out and chat, that's
Hit us
always, hit us up. That's always available. There's other options, prayer requests and things like that. But like, as we talk about these key concepts or key things that we want to make sure that we're going over when we're talking about this, I think it's incredibly important to know, like, as a listener, what do you want to hear? What's something that maybe you're struggling with, or if it's not you, it's someone you know, and you're like, man, I really wish we knew more about that. I think that's incredibly important because, as you already noted, like talking about your career, family, relationships, personal growth, athletic pursuit, challenges in your faith, whatever it might be, that's great. But if it doesn't apply to you, or you don't feel like it applies to you, and you're like, I wish they would have talked about this, hit us up.
Yeah. Like, I'm struggling to integrate faith into this aspect of my life, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note, like, the format of some of the episodes, we're going to have book reviews, discussions, conversations with Christian leaders, conversations with doctors. There's going to be personal testimonies, which are the next couple episodes, just kind of explaining ours, devotional segments. I mean, there's going to be a lot of content. I don't think there's going to be any shortage of content that you can kind of feast on.
Yeah.
And see what applies to you.
Right.
Yeah. Would you like to talk about the frequency of the episodes if the microphones continue to work?
I was like, are they not working right now? What's going on?
I mean, it appears that the screen is black, so hopefully it's working.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, so these, I think our first three are going to all release, like, together. So you'll be able to kind of get an idea of what the podcast is, who we are right away, right? But after that, they'll be weekly. So they'll drop on Mondays. And we'll make sure to give, some preview of those on the Instagram, which is just at Purpose and Performance. So,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice. And I think important to note, too, as far as engaging with you guys and everyone that wants to hear it, I got to say y'all. I think it just sounds more, I think it's got to sound better.
Well, I mean,
with
like,
y'all,
we're below I-80, so, like,
that's perfect. Yeah, because I just got to say y'all. And again,
it's not Chicago, so we're
give them a
definitely,
double shout out one episode. Slavin says y'all all the time, and so now it seems easier. It's a good encapsulating group. But
talk with y'all.
yeah. So for engagement, we talked about the prayer requests. If there's anything you're thinking of, you don't even have to put your name in there. Like, just fire it off.
Yeah.
We're happy to pray for you, and we'd love to. As far as the contact us as well. Also sharing your stories with us. If there's something that's been weighing on you and you're like, I've really been looking for an outlet or a way to talk about it, like, contact us.
Yeah, and even further than that, like, I'd like to pause there on the sharing the stories. Like, if you have a testimony that you think is in line with what we're talking about, like, please share it, because I would love to read it and talk about it, because I think that other people hearing that testimony too, not everybody wants to, like, be on camera or, like, on the mic and share their story, but if you want to write it in and we'll read it for you, like, that's something that we can do. And if it helps somebody else, then even if it's one person, that's a win. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And if it helps you feel more confident, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because sharing your testimony is, like I said, incredibly important.
Yeah.
Something that I'm very excited about, and stole this from one of my favorite podcasts, Charity of the Month. So
Yes.
our Charity of the Month this month is Fellowship of Christian Athletes. If you don't know about them, I mean, they're kind of everywhere. There's chapters everywhere. Here in Bloomington, I know I've engaged with them in the past, went to a lot of their banquets, and just a great group. But it's non-denominational Christian athletes meeting and talking about how to get more involved, and then also bringing in new people each time. So like the first time I went, someone was like, "Do you want to go to FCA?" And I was like, "I don't know what that is." But I was already involved in church, so I was automatically drawn to it. But someone who maybe wasn't would have had a great time. I mean, there was like a football stand throw up with like football throws. You had to throw them through the holes, gift cards, all kinds of stuff. And it's about starting that relationship. And I think FCA does a great job. The way it's selected is each month we have like a list that we'll have of these charities. As we move forward with the charity of the month, which we'll talk about kind of the proceeds and how this works, on the site there's a donate button.
Yep.
If you feel led to donate, that donation comes directly to us, and we will send 100% of the donation to that charity of the month.
Yep.
We'll also be contributing out of our own pockets as well, and we'll make that donation in either the podcast name, or if you'd like to donate in honor of somebody, if you send in your donation to us and say, I want to make this donation in honor of so-and-so.
Yeah.
We'll make that donation in honor of them as well. As we bring on guests, or if you have recommended charities of the month, or if there's someone who's struggling, and they're struggling either financially or, have fallen on hard times, we're open to that too. I think it's important to note that each month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, when we get to these points where we're swapping and going to a new charity, that we'll rely heavily on your feedback. And if there is anyone that our guests want to nominate while they're on the podcast, they're more than welcome to as well.
Yeah.
So shameless plug for the shop as well then. So the shop that is also on the website, we came up with some fun merch. If there's anything you want to see, again, contact us. Let us know. But the proceeds of the shop, so the profit of the shop, will also be going to the donation as well. So.
And like at the moment, it's a very basic shop, but I have some plans for some fun stuff in that shop.
Swimsuits.
Definitely some more, some funny things.
Okay.
Yeah, I have lots of plans for that, and
Oh,
I think
boy.
it'll be cool. So, but yeah, the proceeds from that will also go to charity. So.
Yeah. So just kind of a way to give back. And, like I said, we have this platform, and if even it's, $50 total for our first month, or $100, whatever it is, everything helps these charities. And I think it's incredibly important that if we're doing this and we have the ability to do it, and there's any type of reach from this, that we're able to give something back. So,
Yeah, my entire goal of this podcast is to monetize it for the Lord, not for us.
Right.
So if it is monetized and we do make money off of it, then, that money needs to go to people that need it. So
absolutely.
yeah.
And with that is a call to action to people listening.
Yeah.
Please, man, it sounds so cheesy, but rate, subscribe, like all these things. Like if you're listening on Spotify, rate the podcast on there.
But here's why it's not cheesy though, is because, and I'm not like trying to like dog anybody else for
Right.
doing this, because I understand that everybody needs to get their platform out there. But like, in my opinion, like, subscribe, follow, share, all these things, the more people we reach, the more we can bring in that revenue stream to donate to people who need it and to spread the word of God. And I think that that's what we need help from the listeners for,
Right.
in that call to action, is like, help us spread the word, help us donate to people who need it. So
100%. Absolutely. So yeah, do go rate, subscribe, share, especially on the podcast platforms, because what that does is it generates more traffic to the podcast. And so you want to talk about, again, we don't want it shared because we want to become some big thing. We want it shared because if someone hears someone's story on here and it changes their life, awesome.
And like,
even one person.
even to that, like, I think I started my triathlon sharing as an Instagram of sharing my own stuff, right? And like my own journey and like what I was doing with training and like my own thoughts on fitness. And it quickly became convicted for me where I was like, wait, like I don't want to be famous like this. Like this isn't about me. And so I feel that bringing all of the attention more towards the podcast with like the mission in mind of spreading the word is like that's what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I feel like starting there was just not, yeah, the conviction was strong. And so, yeah, moving
That's
to the
good, though.
podcast is, yeah, where I'm supposed to be. So,
Well, as far as our platforms are concerned, Instagram,
yep.
Facebook, YouTube, we have the website as well. If you look up Purpose and Performance Podcast, you're going to find
All of it, yeah.
those. Yep. But they all are located on the website, so it's a direct link from the website mentioned earlier of Purpose dash and Performance dash.
Mm-hmm.
Not a dash. Purpose dash and performance.com.
Yes.
Sorry, mouthful.
And if you're going to Instagram, it's purpose dot and dot performance.
Correct.
So,
Yep.
then that's it. And then the rest are just all one word. So,
Right. So, kind of to tease the next episode before we get going here, someone in this room, and it's not me this time, is getting put on the hot seat for an interview of their testimony.
yeah.
I'm going to be interviewing Andra to hear more about her walk.
Buckle in.
Buckle in. Yeah, seatbelts, double seatbelt.
Yeah.
No, to hear more about her walk, what led her to Christ, and then following that, same for me. She's going to put me back on the hot seat, and we'll have a third episode of me doing the same thing. I think that it's going to be incredibly powerful to hear your testimony. And I'm not saying that mine's not cool, but like I know it already, but hearing you share it each time is just awesome. So I'm excited for that.
Cool. I mean, I'm excited for yours too, though, because yours inspires me. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah. We also will be talking about in a fourth podcast about how like the watching the transformation of each of us like has affected our marriage and our family life and what it's
100%.
like, what it looked like 3 years ago to what it looks like now is so like incredibly different, and it's like the impact that Christ can have on your home is so awesome. So
He's lit.
yeah. Say salty, say lit, you know?
Yeah, oh my gosh. But yeah, no, I'm really excited for the next few episodes, and then we're going to be bringing on some guests that are again incredibly impactful, and just hearing like their journeys and what they've gone through and how they've shaped their life to bring Christ to the front of their fitness journey or their athletics or whatever it might be. We have a few really great guests coming up, and I'm pumped for them too.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna nerd out. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I know which ones you're excited for. But truly, thank you for joining us in the first episode of this journey. Again, circling back to the disclaimer of like, maybe this wasn't what you thought it was going to be, but I think you tune in for a few episodes and you're going to be really interested. And maybe we captured your attention.
Mm-hmm.
The audio will improve. The video will improve. This will be a constant
We're gonna
improvement.
do this thing.
We're going to do this thing.
I also want to put a disclaimer out there, like, thank you for the patience.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
With me especially. I think I get nervous to make sure that I do the best job that I can, and sometimes I talk in circles, and sometimes I get mixed up, and I don't know, get a little anxious. And so I just appreciate the patience that it's going to have to take for me to become comfortable with kind of talking about all of this stuff. But
I think that there's such beauty in that, because a lot of people would feel that feeling that you said, well, I'm not qualified to do this. I don't think I should do this. And I think that there's such beauty in the beginning of the walk with God, and the perspective is so different than someone who's been walking for a while. Like it's so refreshing to see you so on fire for God. Like every 2 seconds I turn around, you're holding the Bible somewhere. You're doing something with it. Like I'm serious. It's awesome. So yeah, I don't think you have to thank anybody for having patience with you, because I think people are going to be very invigorated by your spirit
For sure.
I love when I compliment you and you just
Get all weird.
get all weird. It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
I'm like that in real life too. It's just
Yeah,
like, you look
yeah.
pretty today. Aw.
Shucks. But awesome.
Great, how are you?
Great. Well, I think that about wraps it up, don't you?
Yeah.
Awesome. Peace.